pretended to have a firearm. Agent Burke knocked on the door. The individual inside the home refused to open it and called 911 instead. Despite the fact that the caller read the dispatcher Agent Burke's badge number, Officers Joseph Fahey and Kevin Winchell of the Columbus Division of Police were dispatched to investigate the situation as an attempted break.
Hey, turn around. Let me see your hands. Turn around. Let me see your hands. Okay, let me see your hands. I need to see some ID. Get on the ground. Get on the ground now. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. 917-110-3. Get on the ground. Why wouldn't you show me your ID when I got here? Don't move forward. Get on the ground. We'll figure it out. Not getting on the ground. Well, just stay where you're at. Fine. Why do you got to make this harder than it is? I have no problem making this. I'm not overreacting. We got a call that someone's impersonating a police officer out here who doesn't have ID. Okay, get on the ground so I can find out who you are. Okay, fine.
Although Agent Burke repeatedly states that he is a federal agent, Officer Fahey continues to order him to get on the ground. While the interplay between the jurisdiction and authority of federal and local law enforcement agencies is complicated, in general, local law enforcement has the authority to issue lawful orders to federal agents when necessary to complete their duties. In the U.S., the authority of state, county, and local police departments is established by what is known as territorial jurisdiction. This means that, in most situations, a local police officer only has the authority to enforce criminal laws within their own city. As long as they are within their jurisdiction, they can enforce every type of criminal law. For example, Section 737.11 of the Ohio Revised Code, applied to Officer Fahey, states municipal police officers have the authority to enforce all municipal ordinances, as well as, quote, all criminal laws of the state in the United States. Federal law enforcement agencies, on the other hand, have jurisdiction throughout the United States, but they typically do not have a general grant of authority to enforce all laws. Rather, federal law enforcement agencies are granted authority by Congress through the United States Code. Most are limited to investigating matters that are within federal jurisdiction. While states have a general police power to pass laws for the welfare of their people, the federal government can only create laws regarding certain subjects that are listed in the Constitution, such as regulating interstate commerce and providing for the punishment of counterfeiting money. These powers are often referred to as the enumerated powers of the federal government. Therefore, both Agent Burke and Officer Fahey were operating within their jurisdiction throughout this instance, but without more information about the underlying situation, it is unclear whether a court will conclude that Officer Fahey's commands constitute lawful orders.
Do you find I think I'm a police officer or something? What the heck's the matter with you? Who do you think you are? Get on the ground! Do not listen to me! Keep your hands up! Why am I having a whole way? Keep your hands up! Look! Get on the ground! Face down! On the ground! Face down! Now! Face down! You're on! You're taking a second! Face down! Now! All the way down! All the way!
Once Officer Winchell arrives at the scene, Agent Burke decides to comply with the commands of the officers and gets on the ground. While attempting to place Agent Burke into handcuffs, Officer Fahey deploys his taser. After being stunned, Agent Burke surrenders to the officers.
Just get in the car! Why would you make us do this? I didn't want to. I wanted to. Wait, no, you knew. Sir, calm down. Relax. Sir. Guys, please, just talk to me for 1 second, please. Get in the car. No, we'll talk later. Sir, wait. You had your chance. No, I was trying to give you my class. You didn't let me show it. Everyone's trying. Get in the car. Now. I gotta breathe. Please, sir, let me breathe. Down and breathe. Let me breathe. I have a medical condition. We're gonna get air to you. Get your legs in. Get your legs in. We're closing this door. Sir, get your legs in. I need air. Sir, please, call an ambulance. I'm asking for an ambulance. Got a medic coming. Get the car. You don't need this. You just said call an ambulance. I got it. Now you don't. Hey, call him. Sir, I can't breathe. Wait. If you got double cars close.
The officers attempt to place Agent Burke into their patrol vehicle. He verbally and physically resists, prompting the officers to force him back to the group.
Hey, sir, you are a real police officer. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. We got him in the car. He might even be a real cop, but he wouldn't know. Wouldn't do anything. Wouldn't get on the ground. I mean, what the hell? You bet. We had to taser him, so we got a medic coming. Well, that's what we thought, but then he wouldn't get in the car. If he is an actual police officer, he got to be ashamed of himself. You're not. You're right. You're not. Yeah. No, you screwed up. Bad. First thing he should have had his badge set when I got here. Wouldn't get on the ground. Wouldn't comply with anything. Whenever the sergeant is here, we'll call his supervisor. Yep. It gets the point. Dude, you saw how he was. He wouldn't comply. No, you never. No. It's all on video.
Just let him yell.
Yeah, we had to use the taser just to drive stun.
Okay.
He's got a medic. He says he's got some condition. He may even really be a police officer. He's got a badge, but he wouldn't do anything. Wouldn't get on the ground. I told him over and over to get on the ground. He wouldn't comply with anything. We had to tase him.
Right.
He followed us the whole time. Wouldn't get in the car. If he is a real police officer. No, we're not.
Okay.
I do go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So his supervisor is going to need to come to see him. The way he acted, it's all on video.
He's got a good look. He's got a good look.
He very well may be. But you know what? When a Columbus police officer, yeah. I know. He remarked it, but he said over and over, "I'm not getting on the ground. I will not." I said, "You obviously don't know what's going on. Then, if he's here to work a warrant by himself, there's something strange about that."
Something about it. Her wife, her husband bought a shotgun. So he was going to follow up on some shotgun.
Yeah.
Here, the Columbus officers remarked that Agent Burke was allegedly at the location to follow up on the purchase of a shotgun, which is a common task for a ATF agent. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF for short, is a law enforcement agency within the Department of Justice that, according to Section 599A of Title 28 of the U.S. Code, is responsible for investigating, quote, criminal and regulatory violations of the federal firearms, explosives, arson, alcohol, and tobacco smuggling. Under Section 3051 of Title 18 of the U.S. Code, ATF agents have the authority to, quote, make seizures of property subject to forfeiture to the United States, which, according to Section 924 of Title 18 of the U.S. Code, includes illegally possessed firearms. In fact, as the Wall Street Journal reported in 2019, ATF agents are regularly involved in retrieving weapons from individuals who were sold firearms and they should have not been permitted to purchase one due to their background check. These delayed denials occur when backlogs in the federal background check system. Individuals are sold firearms before their background check is completed. The sale is legally permitted to proceed after 3 business days, even if the check is not finished. If the FBI, which performs the background checks, determines that an individual should not have been sold a firearm once the check is completed, delayed denial is referred to the ATF to track down and seize the weapon. In 2017 alone, the ATF was responsible for handling about 6,000 of these seizures, and a delayed denial is only one of them. ATF agent can confiscate weapons. While it is uncertain whether Agent Burke was pursuing a delayed denial or was following up on another firearm issue, it is clear that Agent Burke was performing a routine duty in his role as an ATF special agent.
Are you guys the ones that originally called? Okay. What did he say to you when he was talking to you?
Open the door because he's a police. I tell him I can't open the door because my husband. He said you have to open the door. I tell him, sorry, I can't. Stay with my kids. My kids are crying because they afraid. I
Okay.
tell him.
Did he ever try and break the door or anything like that?
I will stay here until evening if you don't open the door because I'm not there.
Okay. Very good. There's a chance the sergeant might want to talk to you, so thank you very much. Good. Thank you.
The complainant essentially admits to the Columbus officer that she refused to open the door for Agent Burke despite the fact that she was informed that he was a federal officer. In general, citizens are under no obligation to open their doors to members of law enforcement without a warrant. This remains true in this situation. Although Agent Burke was at the home to retrieve a shotgun from a citizen who was not legally allowed to own a firearm, it is likely that a court would conclude that the citizen did not have to open the door or surrender the firearm if Agent Burke did not have a warrant. In the 1958 case of Jones versus United States, the Supreme Court explained, quote, it is settled doctrine probable cause for belief that certain articles subject to seizure are in a dwelling cannot of itself justify a search without a warrant. Were federal officers free to search without a warrant merely upon probable cause that certain articles were within a home, provisions of the Fourth Amendment would become empty phrases. The protection it affords largely nullified. Similarly, in the 1980 case of Peyton versus New York, the Supreme Court stated, quote, "It is a basic principle of Fourth Amendment law that searches and seizures inside a home without a warrant are presumptively unreasonable, absent exigent circumstances. Warrantless entry to search for weapons or contraband is unconstitutional, even when a felony has been committed. There is probable cause to believe that incriminating evidence will be found within. While it is certainly possible that in some situations exigent circumstances in our home and seize an illegal firearm without a warrant may exist, there did not appear to be any such emergency in this situation. Assuming that Agent Burke was not executing the warrant, the complainant was most likely within her rights to refuse to answer the door.
What's he got? There's a chance he may even be religious. Oh.
Grab the hand.
Yeah. Yeah. They said we put it as an 8 and he's trying to break in. That's why I thought he was working PPA by himself. Yeah.
After holding Agent Burke for about an hour, the officers released him without charges. On December 4th, 2020, Agent Burke filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Columbus, Officer Fahey, and Officer Winchell, alleging that, other violations, Officers Fahey and Winchell used excessive force during the incident. According to the complaint, Agent Burke was transferred to an administrative support role within ATF after the incident because of the injuries he suffered. As of the date of this episode, the lawsuit is ended. Overall, Agent Burke gets a C-, because although he was likely acting within his lawful authority when the Columbus officers arrived on the scene, he refused to obey what were likely lawful orders from the officers, physically and verbally resisted the officers, and maintained an unprofessional and condescending demeanor throughout the encounter. While it is clear from the video footage that Agent Burke informed the Columbus officers that he was a federal agent on multiple occasions, that statement alone does not override the officers' authority to order him to the ground until they can secure the scene. Agent Burke was armed at the time of the encounter. It can certainly be argued that the Columbus officers just wanted to disarm him in case he was, in fact, pretending to be a federal agent. If Agent Burke had politely complied with the orders of the officers, blatantly refusing to get on the ground, then this interaction may have had a much different outcome. All that said, there is no denying that at least some degree of negligence took place from the Columbus officers' conduct. But Agent Burke may have had a much stronger case against them if he had been more willing to cooperate with their commands. I commend the agent for following up this interaction with proper legal actions, but I would caution him to consider the notion that federal law enforcement authority does not trump state law enforcement authority in future encounters. Columbus officers get F for approaching the scene with their weapons drawn despite no immediate threat being present, neglecting to consider the facts of the encounter in an effort to gain control of the situation, for failing to conduct a legitimate investigation into Agent Burke's identity before deciding to place him under arrest. Although the legality of the Columbus officer's commands is difficult to question, logic behind issuing those commands is even more difficult to understand. Agent Burke's lawsuit against the officers claimed the woman who called the Columbus officers to the scene provided dispatch with the agent's name and badge number. Agent Burke wasn't making any threatening gestures or statements when the officers arrived on the scene. It's extremely tough to comprehend why the officers responded to the call by immediately shouting commands with their weapons drawn. Columbus officers also refused to allow Agent Burke to provide his credentials to them on multiple occasions. It seemed to display a complete disregard for the fact that Agent Burke was an ATF agent. Before, there is an argument to be made that the Columbus officers were within their authority to secure Agent Burke's firearm before investigating further. However, no practical threat existed when the officers arrived on the scene. At no point did Agent Burke do anything to suggest that he was anything less than a federal agent attempting to carry out his duties. Columbus officers had merely taken the time to figure out what was going on before deciding to resort to use of force, and this interaction would likely have had a much more positive outcome. This encounter